Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right, last night we had a primetime game with the Golden State Warriors facing off against the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Warriors couldn't be happier to have their baby-faced assassin back in the lineup after he missed 11 games after suffering some tears in his left leg a month ago. And since his return, he's been nothing but an assassin, dropping 33 points per game and mixing it with 6 threes per game. And last night, he dropped a stat line of 36, 6, and 4. In an overtime 125 to 116 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks, giving the Bucks their third loss in their last 24 games. But here's the thing. In this game, the Warriors had an advantage because the Bucks unfortunately had to play without their former MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, due to a hand injury for the third straight game. And how this game turned out is that with Curry's fourth game since his return, him and his Splash Brother have been shooting out of the gym, and they did it last night, combining for 58 points and 10 threes. But here's the thing. Other than Clay and Steph shooting out of the gym and looking back to normal and dominant as ever, their defense took it to a whole nother level that we're not used to seeing, and they continuously forced the ball out of Milwaukee's hands, and because of it, they went on multiple scoring runs and was able to get a lead as large as 13 at one point during the game. But here's the thing. The Warriors weren't the only one that could play defense in this game, because the Milwaukee Bucks were doing it right back at them, and their Defensive Player of the Year candidate, Brook Lopez, led the way. And what he did was have one of his best defensive game, if not his best defensive game all year long, blocking 5 shots and getting a steal out of it. And he had a clutch block towards the end, but because of his defensive domination, he was able to help the Bucks sustain their lead, especially at the end of the game. But here's the thing. Thanks to Curry, Curry just went Curry mode and dropped 3 threes in the final 2 minutes, which then helped the Warriors tie it in regulation at 111 apiece. But as soon as overtime hit, it was nothing but Splash Brothers, because they were the only two that scored in overtime for the Warriors, scoring 13 of the 14 points that they scored in overtime. And because of the Warriors beating the Bucks in this game, they ended their 3-game losing streak, and now they're at an even 500 in the month of March at 3-3. And in the month of March, this is usually when we start to see the madness in college basketball. But because of what has happened over the course of the year, we don't know what has been more madness, the conference tournaments since March began, or the rest of the year, because of how many upsets that have happened. And yesterday, we saw the final rounds of almost all the conference. There was only 3 conferences, and they played today, that we saw clinch their conference title as their champion. And today, so far of what we've seen out of the conference championships that have played, we have seen Alabama claim their title as the SEC champions. As of yesterday, what we saw were the Arizona Wildcats clinching their title as the Pac-12 champions. Then we saw the Texas Longhorns clinch their conference title as the Big 12 champions. Then we saw the Duke Blue Devils claim their conference title as the ACC champions for the first time without Coach K. So there is some success there, but not as much success as we were hoping to see. But here's the thing. other than the conference title games that have been played so far, there are 2 conferences left that we still need to see, 2 conference title games that we need to see finish off to see who is going to claim the final 2 spots in the qualifying round to get the final spots in the March Madness tournament. And those 2 conferences are the American Athletic Conference and the Big Ten Conference. And there can be any one of these 4 winners. It could be Penn State or Purdue to win the Big Ten Conference, and or we could see the Memphis Tigers or the Houston Cougars win the American Athletic Conference. And my prediction for those teams to win it are the Houston Cougars and the Purdue Boilermakers. But here's the thing. Out of what had transpired yesterday, there was one game that really stuck out, and it was the Texas Longhorns versus the Kansas Jayhawks. And the question is that the Kansas Jayhawks might lose and might be kicked out of the tournament a lot quicker than a lot of people might think, because over the last week, the Texas Longhorns and the Kansas Jayhawks have played twice, and the Texas Longhorns have completely outbattled and outperformed Kansas in every aspect of both games, beating them by an average of 18 points and whooping them by 20 yesterday, 76-56. And because of what Kansas has done, it raises a huge question on how far the Kansas Jayhawks might truly go, even though that they're the 3rd ranked team in the country. They have been, because when they played Texas, it has been nothing but turnovers and getting no chance to win at all, because of Texas completely dominating them all game long. But here's the thing. When it comes to the Big 12 Conference, that conference has been the most exciting, insane, and ridiculous conference that we have seen all year long, because it's been back and forth. It didn't matter on who was ranked what. You could be ranked 1, 3, 5, 17, 22, 18. It didn't matter what you were ranked. This battle of the Big 12 was absurd to watch, because there were so many upsets. And the Big 12 is the one conference that you need to watch. And I can't stress that enough, because of what has transpired over the last 2.5 months. And because of what had transpired over those 2.5 months of everybody playing each other, there is a very good chance that a Big 12 team will win and become a national champion this year. And in the NHL, in the NHL this year, all year long, we've seen two teams go from bottom to top from last year to this year, and one of those teams is the Seattle Kraken. And right now, they have 10 more wins than they did all of last year, and they have 16 games left to go. And over the last week and a half, they have won 5 of their last games, but unfortunately, they're on a back-to-back losing streak, losing 2 games in a row, and they're on a back-to-back series against the Dallas Stars, and the Dallas Stars got the first game of the 2-game series, beating Seattle 4-3 in overtime fashion. And how this game played out is this game started off with very good defensive efforts in the first period, with teams constantly battling to get the puck in the net. But because of that defensive effort, the first period was completely shut out. And it's more impressive because of how strong these teams started out, because Dallas and Seattle are 2 of the top 10 scoring teams in the entire league. And the the seal of the game didn't get broken till the second period, where Rupe Hintz was the first one to score out of the whole game, putting up scoring Dallas's first of 2 goals that were scored for them in that second period. But after Dallas scored their first goal, Seattle's Jordan Eberle was able to tie the game up. But here's the thing. Seattle wasn't able to get their lead until the third period, and what they did was match what Dallas did in the second period and brought it to the third period. And this game had 4 different lead changes and 3 separate ties, and it was 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. And the only time it wasn't tied was when Dallas got the overtime game-winning goal. Now, throughout this entire game, the defensiveness of the Seattle Kraken, they outshined the Stars defense the entire way. But unfortunately for Seattle, and fortunately enough for Dallas, Pavelski and Heiskanen were able to score last-minute goals in regulation and in overtime to lift Dallas to the victory, giving them their 36th victory of the season. And because of it, they are just barely ahead of Minnesota, because Dallas has 85 points right now and Minnesota has 83 points right now. So Dallas, Seattle is hoping to get back into the win column by beating Dallas in that second game, and that will help out Minnesota only if they can win their next game to tie the Dallas Stars for first place in the Central Division. And right now it is a real battle between Dallas and Minnesota, and this will most likely be a close race all the way until the end of the regular season to see on who is going to get first place of the Central Division. And it's just the same as the Metropolitan Division for the New Jersey Devils and the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.